Hello! It's time for my February TBR, and I'm going to start off with a book that I've actually already finished. So I'm just going to mention it because technically it was on my TBR, but by the time I'm filming this I've already read it, and that is Eight Will Fall by Sarah Harrion, which is young adult fantasy with hints of dystopia and horror about a girl named Larkin who has magic which is forbidden in the world that she lives in. She's an empath, which means that she can use negative emotions to destroy things and positive emotions to create things, the emotions of others. She absorbs them and either destroys or creates with it. And there's an evil living under the city, and she and 6 others are sent to destroy it. And I'm not going to give my full review here, but I did enjoy it quite a bit. Next up, as usual, I'm going to properly start with my book club books for the month. So my local book club will be reading a memory called Empire by Arcady Martin, which is space opera, I believe, which is not a genre I'm particularly familiar with. I haven't read any space opera before, and it follows a character who is becoming the new ambassador to the Taxacalan Empire, but the previous ambassador appears to have been murdered, so our protagonist needs to try to discover what happened. That's all I know about it, but I'll be reading it for my book club and I will let you know what I think of it when I wrap it up. Then we're also, for my own book club, reading Warcross by Marie Lu, which is also science fiction. This one is about a hacker who is a very, very good hacker, and she's therefore hired to go into a virtual reality video game and ferret out some other hackers that are messing with things. And it's only very short, and I am very much looking forward to reading it. This has been on my TBR for a very, very long time, basically since I discovered BookTube, really, which was about 2 years ago, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, really looking forward to reading it, and especially looking forward to chatting about it with all of you. So if you haven't already, let me know that you want to join the book club discussion, and you in fact do want to join the book club discussion. Just leave me a comment with your Instagram handle down below and I will add you to the chat. Alongside this, I also want to read Summer Wars Part 1 and 2 by Mamoru Hosoda, which is a manga, as you can see, which I've seen the anime of this. It's a film rather than a series, and I really, really loved it. And it follows a couple of characters, really, but essentially the main plot is that there's an online virtual reality game and there's an evil in the game that needs to be defeated, because if not it will have real world repercussions. So this one is somewhat similar in theme to Warcross, so I really want to read these two alongside each other and see whether there are any parallels. I've already consumed the story from this one already, so I don't think it will be too distracting from the story in this one. It's just a different format to how I've consumed the story before. Then, in line with my goal to continue series this year, we have Crown of Midnight by Sarah J Maas, which is the second book in the Throne of Glass series, which I started last summer and just haven't continued. No idea why. I did enjoy the first book and I do want to read this one. Can't tell you what this one is about, but the first book follows Selena, who is an assassin in prison awaiting execution, but she's offered an alternative. She can instead compete in a competition with other assassins and thieves to become the king's champion. And my other book that I want to continue in the series is actually not this one, which I've just realised is book 3 and not book 2. I need to buy book 2 now, but I will be reading Shadows of Self by Brandon Sanderson, which is book 2 in the second arc of the Mistborn series. I don't know how I managed to pick up Bands of Mourning by mistake, but I did. Here we are. I can't really tell you what this one is about, or Shadows of Self, or Alloy of Law, in fact, which is book 1 in the second era books, because it's all sort of kind of spoilery for the first era of Mistborn, but I feel like if you watch my channel you kind of already know what they're about. It's an epic fantasy series in a world where the magic system is called allomancy, which involves the consumption of metals in order to gain certain abilities. Now, the second era series is a lot more based in a kind of mysterious plotline, so there's a mystery to solve and our characters are kind of like detectives, I suppose. Not really the like Sherlock Holmes type detectives, but more, I can't compare it to anything because I really don't read books in that genre, so I did struggle a little bit with Alloy of Law for that reason, because it's not my usual thing. But I love Mistborn, I love Brandon Sanderson, so I do want to continue with the series with Shadows of Self, not Bands of Mourning. I will read Bands of Mourning eventually, but I'm going to read book 2 before I read book 3. Then we have Mort by Terry Pratchett, which is one of the Discworld books. It's actually technically the 4th book in the Discworld, but the first book in the Death trilogy within the Discworld, and death as a personification is a concept that I really like, so I wanted to start off reading Discworld with this one, and I feel like it's about time I got to it, so I really want to pick it up in February. This one particularly follows Mort, who becomes Death's apprentice, and I guess we kind of follow his apprenticeship. I'm not really sure. I don't know much more about it other than it's Discworld, which is enough for me because it's a series that I've been wanting to get into for quite a number of years. And then finally, for my TBR, I would like to read Woven in Moonlight by Isabel Ibanez. This I got in my recent Fairy Loot box, and in that video I said I wasn't sure if this was possibly historical fantasy, and since then I've looked it up and it does seem like a lot of the content is based on true Bolivian history, so it is historical fantasy, so that's why I'm adding it to my TBR, because I really wanted to make it a priority this year to carry on trying out historical fiction and historical fantasy in particular, because it seems to be historical fantasy that really grips my attention within the historical fiction genre. And so since I have this one, I figured it would be a good one to add to my TBR for this month. And that's it. Those are 7 books that I hope to get to in the month of February. I managed to read 14 books in January, so hopefully I will read more than just these, but these are my priority books for the month of February. Let me know what you're planning to read in February, and again, if you want to join the book club, then do just leave me your Instagram handle down below and I will add you to our chat. But that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more like this from me, then do think about hitting that subscribe button, and I hope to see you here again soon. Thanks! Bye!